Joining me today is New Hampshire House of Representative Larry Converse. So Larry, the governor introduced her budget. We've had a couple of discussions, or she's met, I think, did she meet with Finance, a joint committee on that?
I believe they have, yes.
What strikes you as most interesting in this budget?
Well, I have not studied the budget as well as I should be, but I know that she has a lot of things that I will not agree with, but that's the way it goes. I mean,
so where do you and she disagree?
Well, we need something besides gambling, alcohol. We need to have an income tax so that all the people will be paying some money.
So, I mean, really you're looking at it from a much big, it's a revenue projection.
Right.
The Keno, the registration fees, the cigarette tax, you're saying really that's not what's going to handle the issues we need to deal with as a state.
No, it's not going to happen.
Politically, an income tax isn't going to pass. I mean, the governor said, right, she's going to veto it. But I want to hear the case for why we need an income tax. Why that's good policy.
Well, what would happen is people that live in Vermont and work in New Hampshire, we'd be able to collect them, their portion of that income tax. People that live in Massachusetts, we'd be able to collect that income tax. And people that live in Maine, we'd be able to collect their income tax. They'd get a voucher saying that they've paid it to New Hampshire where they work and not have to pay twice. But Maine is odd because you take both incomes, one person who works in Maine and their spouse.
Even if their spouse lives in New Hampshire?
Even if they work in New Hampshire, they're taxed in Maine.
Okay, so if they live in Maine, both of them have to live in Maine, and one works in New Hampshire, they still pay the
They still pay the Maine income tax, but that's the only state that does that to us, to them.
Beside picking up sort of the fact that people who live in one place work in another,
right,
pay taxes to the state. Beside that, is that the only reason for this, or is policy decision?
Well, I introduced the bill 8 years ago for an income tax to pay all the school tax. In other words, if you were paying an income tax in the state of New Hampshire, that bill would have allowed you to take and not have to pay a school tax or the state tax for schools.
So you would basically remove your bill, as it was introduced,
right?
Would effectively take out of the picture the property tax.
Well, just the school part of it.
The school part of the property, yeah, right. Not the county and
not the
school.
City, right.
Would that be the local property or the state? I mean, it's the state property tax component.
Yes, both of them.
Both of them
would have come out.
I don't know what happened to the bill. I know it didn't get passed into law.
No, what happened, it died in committee.
What should the income tax rate be?
Well, that bill was 1%.
1%?
Yes.
And is that still the right amount?
I believe it is, considering how many people who have an income in this state.
And is it on all forms? Would you treat all forms of income the same, or would interest and dividends be treated under the interest and dividends tax?
It would still be, but we wouldn't be taxing Social Security.
Okay. So is 1% still the right number today?
Yes.
How much do you think that will bring in?
I forgot what the numbers were, but it was a lot of money. It would have made up for all the school tax. So you can see how much money that would be in the state school tax.
Would there be exemptions, or would you exempt the first $10,000 in income or $20,000 in income, or would you propose a flat tax?
That was basically, it was a flat tax, yes.
And no deductions, or
no,
just straight up?
Straight up.
So I know it's not. I read the bills you introduced last night, and I know it's not there. Would you introduce something like that in the next session?
Well, it depends on if the governor took a pledge, because if the governor takes a pledge it's going to die in committee anyways.
So, I mean, it's something you believe in, but you're politically pragmatic enough to say it's just not going to happen?
Right.
So,
When it's not going to happen until all of us decide that we've had too much property tax.
well, we're out of time in this segment.